Okay, so we have to solve for x and y. What do you want to do first? X, I agree. So what would our equation be? 4x plus 33 plus 3x equals 14x minus 16. Now, if I added another plus, it would have to be plus what? Right here. Y. Can I have x and y in the same thing right now? We don't know how to do that yet. Okay, so now our next move would be to combine like terms. 7x, subtract from both sides, so that would be 7x over here. Add 16 to 33. What do we get? 49. Divide by 7. So x equals 7. Do you guys get x equals 7? Okay, now what do you need to do to solve for y? To which one? Yeah, let's plug it in right here. So 14 times 7, which I'll get 98, and then 98 minus 16 is 82. So that one's 82 degrees. Now how do I get y? 180 minus 82. What is your problem? 180 minus 82 is 98 degrees. So the answer for x should be just 7, and the answer for y should be 98. Oh, that's a mistake. That should be a degree mark. If you didn't put degrees when it was degrees, I did take off a point. I only took off 1 point for this class because I didn't remind you much, but we did talk about that when it was degrees, it needs to say degrees, okay? So even if you did it every single time on the quiz, I just took off 1 point overall. Okay, unlike the other classes where I took off a point every time they did that because I reminded them. Okay, you ready? You good? So I'll pass those back tomorrow, and you'll know what you got. And remember, it was out of 60. The grades were pretty good overall. All right. Okay, you did have homework on Friday. Remember, you were supposed to pick it up off the drawers. Anybody have a question or anything you want me to go over? Question mark Benson broke your window. I don't get it. I don't get it. The next day, you'll got a note on his door that read, question mark Benson broke your window. Which 3 Benson brothers should be questioned? And it was Mark, right? Yeah. Oh, get it? Question mark.
That's an awful one.
That's really awful.
Question mark. Oh,
You should question
I see.
Mark.
Mark.
Anyway, I know. That's terrible fun. Guys, no questions? We're going to move on. Okay, today. Yay! We are learning, guys, moving on to parallel lines and transversals, okay? You have some tools. Are y'all done? Great. You have some tools in the basket that's on your table. You have a protractor, and then you have some Smarties, which we're going to use in just a second. So the first thing is grab a protractor. Some tables there's enough for everybody. Some tables you have to share. You need to. Let's remember how to use a protractor. Okay. First, you line up. Whoa, that's not what I meant to do. You line up there's a little hole, I think, on yours, or the 0, right on the where they cross each other. Okay, it should line up. I'm not trying to move on. Okay, and then you'll want to look at the line. Okay, it should work something like that, correct? If you look, you should be able to see how much these angles are, correct? Okay, and let's write in one color how much angle A was. What did y'all get for angle A? 100.
What?
Angle A. Okay. Okay, my bad. Well, if I'm going from this direction, 0, 10, 20, it stops at 120. So angle A is 120. Angle B, we're going from this direction, and it would be how much? 60. Okay, y'all. Does everybody get that that one was 120? Okay, now, when you lined it up, When you line it up from this side, I'm using now a different color, please. Grab a different color. How much was angle B? 60 degrees, right? Now, how do I know that those are the correct numbers? Yeah, because 120 and 60 equals 180, and we know we made a straight line. Are you ready so far? Yes. Okay. I was so excited to get to the protractors, I kind of skipped ahead. In the picture below, lines X and Y are what kind of lines? Parallel, that's right. Okay, they are parallel, which I'm not really sure. I can't remember when you guys were introduced to parallel lines, but I know we talked about them last year for sure. Okay, and then line T, notice how line T is cutting them. Okay, that's called a transversal. And you are not supposed to know that word yet. Okay, it's a transversal of a line that intersects them. Use a protractor to measure each of the angles that were formed. Okay, so if you go ahead and use your protractor, you can now turn the protractor upside down to get these ones down here, correct? I will certainly attempt to do that. And then how much was angle C? 120. Now, you could go ahead and measure E, F, G, and H, but do you think that you need to? Good. How much is angle E going to be? 120. How much is angle H going to be? 120. How much is angle F? 60. How much is G? 60. Okay? Now that I've done it with a pen, and so that these are my notes, or a highlight, or whatever, okay, now what I want you to do is pull some Smarties, okay? So there's Smarties in your thing. Guys, I will give you Smarties at the end to eat. These are going to be like our manipulatives for the day. So what you need, listen to me, you need 4 of one color and 4 of a different color. So that's why you may have to work together to get 4 of each color. Everywhere that you have the same measure, hello, I want you to pull a Smartie of the same color. So like for me, I'm going to use pink. Every time I see a 120, I'm using pink. So whatever color you want to use, doesn't matter. Now I'm going to use my other color on all the other ones. Okay? Now, here is what I'd like for you to do. Take a look at the picture. Now that you have your Smarties there. You should have 4 of one color and 4 of another color, each person. If y'all don't have enough, you gotta tell me, so I can give you more. I don't have enough. Even when y'all share?
They get like 3 of each color. There's 4 there.
So if y'all need more, you gotta tell me. Y'all are the first class to do this. Because, like I said, the ones in the basket are gonna be the class set. Anybody else need more? Any more? You need more? Or you got any more? Okay. All right, guys. You ready? Now, what I want to know is, what do you notice about the angle measures? Okay, is specifically where they are and the measurements. What do y'all notice? Say it.
The vertical thing.
Let's be a little more specific. I like where you're going, but I need you to be a little more specific. Vertical angles are across from each other, and therefore they are congruent. So, guys, we could see, y'all, we could see that really easily right here and right here, right here and right here. But does anyone notice anything else? Not just about vertical. Maybe you don't know what they're called yet, but do you see any more that are
It's like
equal to each other?
80% are next to.
Guys, look. Everywhere you see the same color Smartie, what do you notice? They're equal. So that means this guy way out here is the same as this one way up here. They still have the same angle measure. Okay? And then tell me about when you see two different colors.
180.
They always equal 180. And it doesn't matter where they're located. What I mean is right here, like we already knew those were 180 because we learned that last week. But what about this one and this one? Do you see that? They are 180 as well, and they have a special name. Are y'all with me now?
Yes.
Okay, so the reason why I'm showing you this, oh, first of all, let's write this down. So down here, what do you notice? All matching color Smarties are congruent. Let me make that bigger. And also, two different colors together equal 180. That's what you should have noticed. Okay? This is going to be a very useful piece of information, okay? Because you can make this little sketch anywhere. For example, down on the very bottom right-hand corner of your paper, you've got, oh, don't use that because you're about to. How about at the very, very top, you've got some extra space. What I want you to do is simply draw a sketch with me. Ready? Draw a sketch of two parallel lines like this and one transversal like that. Just a little sketch at the very top. Just draw yourself a little sketch. It also does look like a not equal sign. That's right. Now, using any color, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use a shape. First, I'm going to start here and put that one is vertical to that one. I'm just using a little dot. And then in the same place, this one and this one. Right? I've used a dot. Right? Now, up here, I'm going to use a different shape. It doesn't matter. I'm going to draw a star. If you can't draw a star, draw a square, draw a heart, whatever you want. Okay? But then, you see? And so now, even though I don't know anything about what they're called yet, which if you look on your paper, do you see all those new vocabulary words down there? There's a whole bunch. I do know that all of these with my dot are equal, and all of those with my square are equal, and any dot and any star are 180. Can you see that? So do you think you could solve a lot of math right now? Yes. We don't know what they're called yet, and that's okay, but we could do a lot of math. Okay? I love this because this is a great tool for you to use and make your sketch. Wednesday morning, I forgot to look at the board. Wednesday morning, first, we have minor 4.1b, which is the 40 points that we haven't taken yet. It is only on this stuff. Parallel lines and transversals, that's the only thing that's on it. Okay, so what we're learning today, we're going to practice tomorrow, and then take our quiz on Wednesday, okay? You will be fine, I promise. Okay, so now, it wants you to label the inside of the parallel lines, interior, and the outside exterior, right? So what we mean is, this is the inside of the parallel lines, interior, and then this would be exterior. Okay? That's not a new word, we just want to label it on there. Interior versus exterior. Okay? Tell me what the word same side means. All of us over here are on the same side of the room, right? All of you guys are on the same side of the room, yes? But you and you are on opposite sides. Y'all got it? Same side versus opposite side. Interior versus exterior. Okay? All right. We're getting to all these words. All right. On the next page. Lots of vocabulary. Don't let it overwhelm you. First, let's start with the one that we know. Vertical angles. Okay? What are we going to say? Pairs of opposite angles that are formed by intersecting lines. Okay? the example, looking at our picture, need to delete this because I got to go back and forth. Looking at this picture, I'm going to reset my picture so that it's easier for us to see this. Okay. Looking at my picture, which ones are vertical? A and C, B and D. Okay. Angle A and C, angle B and D. And we know that there were more than that. We're just putting those in there. Okay. What is their relationship to each other? They are congruent. The relationship means how is that going to help you for the math? Okay. So they're going to equal to each other. Okay. All right, straight angles, we already knew that. Angles that form a straight line and add up to 180, also called supplementary, was the word I was looking for. Supplementary. So going back over here, what would that be? A and B, G and H, sure. It's anything that makes a straight line. A and B, G and H. Okay? Okay, here's a new word for us. Alternate interior. Okay, well, interior means on the inside of the parallel lines, right? And alternate means on opposite sides. So we're now on the inside, and now we're talking about opposite sides of this transversal. So that would be what? D and F, or C and E. Okay, now let's put the words in here that they want. Angles that are inside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Now, let's look back at our picture. D and F, C and E. What was their relationship to each other? I'm going to put my notes back in here. Okay, so what are they? They are congruent to each other. That's right. Alternate, interior are congruent. Oh, I forgot to write that here. I could write the word supplementary, but I just wrote 180. Same thing, right? Everyone understands that, huh?
For the examples on straight angles, you put G and
I didn't mean to put, I meant to put G and H. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now let's look at alternate exterior. Well, where would they be? On the outside of the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Alternate exterior, let's look. So we're talking out here and on opposite sides. Guys, what's their relationship to each other? They are also congruent. There are. So that would be angle A and what? H. And then also angle B and G. Okay? Now, a new one. Corresponding angles. Now, that's not really new. It's just new in this scenario. When have we heard corresponding angles before? When we did similar figures. When we did triangles way back in other shapes. You remember that? So corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position. Remember how we talked about that? Like you are here, and then the corresponding person would be Maria because y'all are in the same spot on different shape. Remember that? So it says here, angles in the same relative position. Angles in matching corners. Okay, so what they mean is like angle A. Which one corresponds to angle A? Meaning it's in the same corner. Which one? Angle E. That's right. Those are corresponding. And now what do you notice? And what did you already know about corresponding angles? Congruent. They're congruent. Okay? So angle A and E. And how about D and G? Good. I thought I locked you. Guess that was on the other page. What do we say? D and what? G. Okay. All right, we got just two more. Okay. Now we've got same side interior angles and same side exterior. Okay. So interior angles would be angles that are inside the parallel lines and on same sides of the transversal is that word. Okay, so same side interior. Let's look back at our picture. So we're talking on the inside and on the same side. So that would be what? Angle D and E. Do y'all see that? How those are on the same side and on the inside? And what else? C and F. Okay, so D and E and angle C and F. And now, what is their relationship to each other? What do y'all see? What happens when you get two different symbols? They are supplementary. 180. Okay? And now we've got one more. Same side exterior. Same side exterior. Well, this would be angles that are outside the parallel lines and on same side of the transversal. Okay, now look back at our picture. We're now on the outside of the parallel lines, but on the same side. So that would be what? H. I thought I locked you. That's so frustrating, y'all. I'm going to lock everything and save the smart, and so that it'll be better for the next class. So that would be B and H, and also, what else? Angle B and H, and then angle A and G. And what's their relationship to each other? I see a star and a dot, so that means they would be supplementary. Y'all, there's so much vocabulary. Okay, so now that we're done with all the new words. Let's just take a look. Don't change pages yet. Take a look at and see if you can see a pattern, because you've got to come up with something, some way to get this to stick in your brain. What do you notice? They're almost all what? Congruent, except for, right. Well, the first one's straight angles. That one we don't really use. I'm just being honest. So I even just like not even look at that. I'm going to ignore that one. So what are the only two that are supplementary? Anytime it says, say it again. Same side. Here's your trick. Same side. Supplementary. Got it? Same side supplementary. That's how you're going to get that to stick in your head. Everything else is congruent. Does that make sense? So that means anytime it says alternate, corresponding, doesn't matter. Those are all congruent. But if they start talking about same side supplementary, is what I want you to get that in your head. Okay? Or your other trick, draw your sketch. And now you can see things that are equal, things that are supplementary, right? But you don't know what they're called when you have this. This helps with the math. It doesn't help with the vocabulary, and you have to know both. Okay? All right, let's get to some math. Next page. Here we go. Finally with the math. I know, there's a lot of vocabulary. All right, it says we can use our knowledge of angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. Back table. to find missing measurements. In the following examples, we'll write and solve what goes here. Equations. Equations are not going away to help us find it. Okay, it says Elm Street is parallel to Oak Street and Cedar Drive cuts diagonally across the two streets. Find the measure of each marked angle. First of all, what do you know? I'm looking at my picture. I know that those angles are, yes, but why? Corresponding, that's what I was just looking for. Corresponding, and therefore are congruent. For right now, I want you to get in the habit of using both terminology just so that you can, like I said, get it all out there. Okay, what do we need to know? What are we looking for? X. What do you think goes in plan and work? The equation. So what's the equation? Is that hard now? I hope not. We've been doing that for a while, okay? The only new piece is you have to know their relationship in order to write the equation. We're going to subtract 3x from both sides, subtract 61 from both sides. Divide by 6, and we get x equals 7. Okay, the question wants to know, find the measure of each marked angle. Oops, x and angle is what we should have put up here. My bad. So now our solution would be to plug this back in, right? So 9 times 7 is 63, plus 61 is 124. Do I need to do the other one? No, but would it be a good idea to check your work by doing that? Yeah, 3 times 7 is 21, and 21 plus 103 is 124. So each angle is 124 degrees. Both. Okay? What was the hardest part of that whole thing? Seriously. Huh?
How do you know
How did I know that the other one was 124? Because they're corresponding, and by definition, corresponding angles are congruent. Good question. Of course, just like before when we were doing triangles and everything, if your x is wrong, then obviously your angle is going to be wrong. Which, when you get your quizzes back tomorrow, you'll see me have a x on maybe where you solved for x, but then I wrote check on the angle based on your wrong answer over here. I didn't mark it wrong twice is the point. Okay? All right, let's look at the bottom one. It says, the side view of a table is shown, and the top of the table is parallel to the floor. Find the measure of each marked angle. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is figure out what are you looking at here? Where are the parallel lines? Which ones are parallel? The top and the bottom, correct? And then the transversal is this guy right here because that's the one that's got the angles that I'm looking at. This other line in here, is it necessary? No, it's just there to confuse you. Okay, so now we need to figure out what is the relationship. Well, they're on the inside and they're on the same side. So they are same side interior. Therefore, supplementary. Because they're the same side, anything same side is supplementary. Okay? It wants to know each angle, so I need to know x and the angle. Now what? What's the equation? 17x minus 9 plus 4x equals 180. So I got that x equals 9. I went ahead and plugged 9 in for both of those angles. I got 144 and 36. And then when I added them back together, I got 180, and notice that was my check. Okay? Could you also right here at this step just gone 180 minus 144? Could you? Yes, but then it's not as fail-safe as doing it this way and checking. Because obviously if you add them back up after you subtract them, you're going to get the same thing. Okay? All right, there's just a couple of more I want to do with you on the next page. Not very many. How about number 5? Let's do number 5. Okay. Again, notice they're wanting the equation, the value of x, and the angle measure. Okay, so looking at the picture, this is shoved in here. So they're talking about this one and this one. What would those be? Huh?
It should be the same.
Right, because what are they? What's their word?
Alternate.
Alternate interior, so that means they're going to be congruent. So negative 8x plus 8 equals negative 6x plus 20. Oop, I was doing the smaller one. So that would be plus 8x, which gives me 2x over here, minus 20 gives me negative 12. Ooh, isn't that our first time to get a negative in there? Yep, it is. Just checking. But the angle's not negative, it's x, it's negative. Okay, so the value of x is negative 6. And then the angle measure, we're going to plug it back in. So negative 8 times negative 6 is 48, plus 8 is 56 degrees. Okay, and they're congruent, so I don't really need to go any further. All right, guys? Okay, looking at our time that we have left, we have 5 more problems here. I'd like for y'all to solve those with your partner, and then we'll check, okay? Let's go ahead and check. So on the first one, you should have gotten x was 12, and then your angles were 137 and 143. How'd we do? Okay, number 4, it was 11. The angles were 112 and 68. Yes. Do I need to work either one of those? Oh yeah, we're not cleaning up yet. Do I need to work either one of those? No? Okay. Did we get any further? Anybody get further? Well, the answers are here in case you did. If not, if you want to write them in or just check it later, okay? Y'all, it's the same thing over and over. Your main thing is you just have to decide what's the relationship, then write your equation. Okay? In fact, maybe for the other classes, I'll just have them write the equation instead of solving. Maybe that would save some time, right? Okay? Okay, guys. Your homework is the back page. ELT today is 7th period for character strong. So this is our first time that you'll be doing character strong with your 7th period, okay?